Hi Capricorn. I was really looking forward to this, but I had a migraine, so this was put off for a little bit. I hope you're well. I'm excited. I'm really excited to get into this though, because usually after a migraine I get a lot of insights. So sorry about all the movement. So before I get into this fully, I'm gonna pull from the bottom here. And the biggest thing I'm going to say that is happening is that there's a lot of Leo energy out here on the table, but as well as you coming to this kind of peace in a way that you probably haven't felt or accessed very much since maybe childhood. And if you're older, then it would be when you were really young. And for anyone who's gone through some trauma or a psychic rebirth, which is going through all the things that affected your psyche and letting go and having you've maybe done it in your body, your nervous system is primed and and now it's your psyche that's getting some peace of mind, gaining some freedom. It's through this. That's why I put the sun over here, so you can see that through this is where the light is at the end of the tunnel. But you're going to see all the things that you were stuck with, that you have been protecting, that the ways in which in a way that your brain or your heart was protecting you from, your psyche was protecting you from, because that's what you needed as a kid. And now you get to emotionally have some more emotional freedom, but it's not without feeling some kind of pain or sensation. I don't mean if you're in pain, please get the help that you need. But I mean painful emotional pain can also come from emotional relief. Because this does say that there's a completion of some kind of control in your life. And we got our first cards out as we continue. And I feel a lot in my heart as I talk to you. And the sun, and I say about Leo in the heart is because Leo rules the heart, the sun rules the heart in the back, so that's the support. You get to support yourself differently. You may feel lighter, right? You may feel like you've known some things, but there's one thing knowing something, and then there's another thing about allowing yourself to have that become a belief. So these are the cards that came out. What you're completing in your mind at this time is going through just mental distress. That's what's shifting here at this time, and it's through the Queen of Wands that change and shift with the control is more learning about how insightful the control can be. That, and Alan Watts talks about the wisdom of our insecurities. And I think this is, a prime example of how wise your insecurities can be, because they're actually very insightful for you and if you can learn to understand that they're not here to hurt you, they're just here to show you where you've been holding on emotionally. This is what a beautiful read for the High Priestess and Death card. Something's been clogging up your ideas. You needed to allow yourself to relieve yourself mentally. And a lot of times the muscles will emit emotion. So if you're feeling emotional, know that clarity is on the other side. Again, that rebirth, that psychic rebirth, that the Death card, you're after death, but that doesn't mean you don't feel things. The muscles are what hold emotion. So of course, when the brain, even as I have a migraine, there are times where when I go into meditation, I cry. There's a release there. So if you have a release, that's fine, because there's something crystallizing from that. There's something from your subconscious that will then become conscious. And some things that you've been conscious of that need to just take a rest in the dark, in the seeds, in the unconscious. And Mercury has been in Sagittarius, and it will change soon, so that could also be it too. It's been in your 12th house along with the sun. So you've been exposed to a lot of the subconscious, and the High Priestess is revealing that there are a lot of things that are up in the air and that are possible, but there's this notion of needing to, the completion is about leaving behind something emotional. It's something that kept you just in control, and maybe this, here we are going towards the sun now, but that will also encompass all of what I'm saying here, is in order to open your heart, there's something in your mind that you need to let go of. You need to allow yourself to drop into the heart and to know that there's been an idea or something that's come back to you time and time and again, and it makes, when you think about it, it opens your heart. Maybe it brings up some nervousness or fear, but that is because that may be the next risk you have to take. The next risk you're taking right now is emotional, but it's leading you towards something physical, but it's deeply healing for your inner child, perhaps. Something that you haven't felt since perhaps that time. A few cards just fell out over here, so just bear with me. We have the moon at the bottom and your new moon is coming up. This is also about what you're digesting in your mind. Sometimes mental digestion takes up a lot of energy. Okay, and then we have more cards down here, but that will be for the bottom row, or depending on where they intuitively go. So this is about you giving yourself permission more than anything, but you may notice that this could be a father figure for some of you, another Capricorn, or a part of yourself that's kept you from experiencing this expression or this kind of creativity, using your heart, feeling supported by life in general. That will all change, and you notice that it will become easier to notice who's fucking with you. The Knight of Pentacles, the Devil, is that there's, you may realize too, and have a very quick, especially in this Mars opposition right now with Pluto, which is Mars is in Leo, is that you, what's the best way to say this? It's shining light on where you've fucked around and where you're obviously reaping the karma for that, but you may need to rehash that through communicating, and that's where you will learn. The Devil is Capricorn. Capricorn rules over the knees and the skeletal, and then Saturn's the skeletal system. So where that also relates to the alignment in your body, you know, where you may, the bones support the muscle, right? So we talked about the muscles and going into there, so stretching or doing something really good for your body and your alignment. Some yoga perhaps, it's very good for the bones, or any kind of bone density, something along those lines, because this has been passed down and possibly the structure of your life. You may have gone back, or you can remember a time when you were younger and this structure started to take shape, and it's never really given back to you, but it's something that you've known, right? And being out of control is being willing to let go and form, right? Allow yourself to form into the next phase of life, into this next structure of life. So you're being exposed to and given the opportunity to heal this part of you, and even perhaps your lineage, but it's been fucking with maybe even your health or your identity, right? This could be also been something that you've carried in if you believe in past lives. So there's a lot of exposure. There's a lot I could say, because then we have the Mother card here too, right? So now we're coming down into so now we have the yin and the yang out. Okay. So it's really, really important, Capricorn. I hope this is straight. I don't think it is. Sorry, I'm going to just turn this a little. Okay. Is that, so we have the Father and the Mother out, and we have two Pentacle cards next to it. There's a lot of values that you've been shifting. There's a lot of things that you've taken reflection on perhaps, or have been wanting to take into reflection. What it's going to expose to you or show you and reveal to you is that it's time to reparent the parts of you that you have. And it really does relate to the expression here. And this is the Mars, because Mars is going to retrograde from Leo. That's so perfect. Leo into Cancer. Leo is in your 8th house for Capricorn risings, and the Cancer is the 7th house and opposing you. So this offers you an opportunity, the energy of this time, and that will be through January, that's more towards, yeah, towards that part of Capricorn season. Like, so this is also us going right into Capricorn season here. And then we have the full moon at the end of the month. So this is a chance to really allow yourself, like, whatever comes up with either the parent or the mother wound, either or. It's important to nurture the vulnerable, the front side of yourself. So we're talking about being open-hearted. Maybe you also want to work out the chest. Maybe you want to relax the chest. Fish pose is great if you don't know what fish pose is, or do some yin, or find ways to strengthen the chest. But that would also mean the shoulders as well. But that is here in the Virgo. I know this is a lot of information, but that's why you have all month to go back to this. And I do recommend, the body is we talked about going in the body and having it guide your way, because we're going to get here to the yearly energy eventually. Pisces, Venus is also moving into Pisces too at the beginning of the month. So now with all I've said about all of that, that's a lot about communicating. You're getting really clear on your values, and once Pisces comes around, there can be a lot of abundance that can happen, but it will also show you where you have not valued yourself or where you compromise your boundaries. Venus loves being in Pisces, because Pisces is, like, to me, an honorary Venus, because it not only likes being there, but it, just like Libra, it can have a hard time making decision, because Venus rules Libra. So this is helping you get very clear, and it can also help heal. Pisces can very much help heal at this time, especially during the opposition with your transformation and how you're communicating that to the world. Don't be afraid to have quite a few rough drafts, to remember that, and also remember that if you're getting annoyed of going back to the same wound or the same thing over and over again, that's something to be said about your parents, about how you were raised or how you were treated and approached. You need to give yourself that proper attention, and the more that you do that, and the weight of that will help clear up where you've caught yourself stuck here unable to express yourself. Your expression may feel a little more vulnerable, but it's at this time, Capricorn, that you get to be playful with it, because your identity is not, it's for Capricorn risings, you are not your parents, and you know that, but I'm going to repeat it. You are not your parents. There are parts of you that are like them, or parts of you that have been shaped by them, but there's a lot of shift happening here. It's very much giving me the yin. So the yang is now. So it sounds crazy, but the more action, meaning intention and presence you give yourself now until January is when you then will need to take less action in that way, and more listening and responding to not only how you are in your environments, like how you respond in those environments, but how you're aware of yourself and how you're not. This is you breaking free and you're moving forward in ways that you're using your throat and opening up your mouth more as you realize what you talk about more, as you see what your interests lie, and that guides you. That's going to be guiding you. Your voice and what you choose to communicate, how you choose to communicate. If you look at all of that for the next month or so, you will be guided in a way that feels very ethereal, but you can find there's a lot of depth and groundedness to it, because also up here is learning that you want to be involved, and you may realize that through this process that you come to the conclusion that you want to be more involved in a more depth community that likes to go in depth, meaning also have the expression and the fun, but there's a depth to it. There's a deep connection to each other, right? There's a vulnerability. That is something that you may realize you want to begin to develop throughout this time as well. And that's for Capricorn risings as well. What we have here is that have this big opportunity to heal and really move forward in a way that's productive. It's not just you seeing something, not liking it, wanting to fix it, wanting to improve upon it, which are all amazing things, because we have all the earth signs out here that are like down, but then we have the water signs here that some shit just takes the time it takes. And you may just start expressing yourself more freely and not even realize it. But it's so healing for you, Capricorn. You hear, like, I'm stuttering throughout this. I used to stutter when I was younger too. But there's just even that willingness to be a little embarrassed. Not that you're not, but, you know, here we have the King of Cups coming back at the bottom. It's not that you're not, but because this ancestral portal is almost opening up for you, we have Pisces here that's willing to cleanse it, to heal it. That's the salt water, and you to forge your own path. This is all about preparing you for doing something that you know you've been wanting to do and just waiting for the right moment to do it. And here we have that confirmation of it saying again and again, being able to voice your opinion without holding on. That's why you need to, that's what it means to walk away emotionally. That's why this needs to happen first, is because this whole year is about you speaking up about what you know, but also knowing that nothing's set in stone, right? There's the truth. And there's this really awesome, I think I mentioned it in the first part too, this awesome video about how truth really depends on the perception that you take, the hypothesis that you take. And if you're willing to experiment, knowing that you're in your worth and just being a little more playful, or if there's an idea that you know you've been wanting to shape, it's time to write it down, because it's going to whenever you think about it and leave it in there, this is about writing it down. There's a lot here about writing it down too. It's like very Mercury, is that you need to be, why you need to be out of your head more, because then you come to the conclusion that the more that you get out there, the more that you let go, the more that you exhale, the more that you're able to expand on your next inhale. You know, the Gemini card's not out, but this is also relates to the connection with you and your partner. You'll also, if you have a partner, if you're committed, you'll see how the shift in dynamic takes place here, and that could be a part of this process, that's where you're experiencing with new different forms of communication, or being more vulnerable in communication, which means also being more compassionate towards them. And if you're single, you're noticing what patterns have gotten you stuck, what approaches have gotten you stuck, and where you can now, what it looks like to move forward, and how you may come across just maybe either a Cancer, if it's a Capricorn, or if it's a Leo, it doesn't look like it's an amazing match for you. But I would let things play out. I would just be very wary of the approach that you take with anyone this month. Depending on the sign, especially fixed signs, there's a lot of edges being softened, and before something's softened, it's hard. So there's that. You communicating what you need, getting more creative with that as well. But this is also about how creativity maybe brings you closer to your spirituality, brings you closer to your beliefs, what reveals to you at this time, what happens when you set free how you feel when you're connected and committed to your life. That reveals a lot. And it heals places that you've worked really hard, because you can work really hard, but then when the work is done, the work is done. You can't be attached to the work anymore, right? There's always something else to do. How do you know when art is done? Right? This is your life. And now I think you're taking a different approach to success and what that looks like for you. For some of you, it is maybe working for yourself or working deeply with others, whether it's on your own with a business partner, or it's engaging more where you are and growing in that space, because you have many options right now. There are options that get to come your way at this time, of course. But you also have to speak them aloud and not be afraid to talk about certain things with certain people. There's a reason why your intuition brings things up. That's not about being in your head. Sometimes it's okay to freely express. We all make mistakes in that realm, but you just never know who you're talking to. And that's where the relaxation and the freedom come in. You may start to realize that when you start something, of course, you may want to finish it, but if it's not worth your time anymore, why would you need to finish it if you know? You know, sometimes it's not about the challenge, right? It's also about going with ease. And that's the biggest thing that I think that some of you will feel better and more easeful, find an easeful way into that with the ease that will come your way more this year. But then there are some of you that may struggle with that because it's just always what you've known, right? And learning to ask for the help that you need, get the support that you need, especially emotionally, especially just learning to speak and use your throat. It'll help you connect so much more to yourself, because it's not about, sometimes it is about whether it's worth it to say something or not, but sometimes it's just not about being in your head. Letting yourself be a little more risky in that way. Risky with your emotions, and then the insights revealed to it through yourself, through letting yourself find freedom in this area. Because the growth is how much you can handle now that it's not just about what where life wants you to grow and the universe wants you to grow and what the planets are constructing for you. So where you want to go now. More than ever, it's about that you feel a sense of freedom, like, holy shit, like I really don't have to be where I am if I don't want. I really can go somewhere else if I want. I can really take this up. There's just like a surge of energy that comes back to you with this newfound understanding of yourself over and over again throughout the course of the year. And that's really exciting because you watch yourself grow from this Page of Cups, or maybe what someone else views you as the Page of Cups, this Queen of Pentacles, and grow into a King of Cups. It's possible that you feel this evolving during the Venus in Pisces transit. For somebody this has to be connected to your feet. If you're on your feet a lot, I would, allow yourself some rest in some kind of way, some kind of treatment, who knows. But there also could be a Pisces in your life that helps you relieve and express yourself. They show you that there is a need for it in some kind of way in your life. You may realize too that some of these things have been have been agitating you just to get you out of your own way. But for others of you, it's about realizing how not just that you in your own way, but you needed to understand this now because you've been so focused in other areas for a while. And you may feel the capacity to take on more come the new year because you become so detached. There's this, I just can't stop saying this, detachment, because there's just more of a devotion to how you want to see your life go. And there's a groundedness there. And for those of you wanting to get married this year, it may feel like your heart is breaking open. If you meet someone in the next month, you meet someone who may transform your idea of what you thought love was, and now you see, even just meeting this person, whether they're meant to be in your life or not, how you can see yourself committing for the long run, and how sometimes, Capricorn, it's okay to admit that you can achieve so much, but this family, a type of family in your own eyes, this connection that you have, a groundedness to this earth, knowing that humans are so important in the way that we treat each other. There's just an overall gratitude and appreciation for where you're at and how you're able to connect to your insights and focus them and connect to the people that you love and that love you. And this would be a good year to, move forward in a relationship, as long as you're both willing to really move forward. Alrighty. Love you so much, and we'll see you next month.